There are two really important things that need to be said before the NBA coach hot seat rankings. First, whenever you want to fire a coach, you also have to answer who replaces him. The truth is, most of these guys aren't a Phil Jackson genius, but neither is their replacement. At the end of my rankings, I will drop names who could replace any of these fired coaches. But the second thing is I hate to call for guys getting fired. These are real people with families who worked their whole lives to get this shot. Who am I to say someone should be fired? These are just hot seat rankings based on who I think will be fired, not who should be let go. Still, it is going to happen, so let's predict who's gonna go. Yo, it's KC. Hit subscribe. 2 member shoutouts to Zach Banks and Alexa Zach. Number 5 is Scott Brooks of the Wizards, but Russell Westbrook may have saved this man's job. Scotty Brooks was number 1 on the hot seat rankings before the season. They made the second round his first year, first round the next year, but have missed the postseason since. Then his old friend Westbrook joined the team and everything has changed. Russ has gone off this past month plus, and firing Scott Brooks almost looks like a bad idea. The biggest reason Russ wanted to leave Houston for DC was to reunite with his old coach. Westbrook became that beast we all know under Scott Brooks his first 7 years in the league. No one is a bigger fan of Russ besides his mama. It is working out great too. Do the Wizards really want to fire Scott Brooks when Russ still has probably 2 more years under a really fat contract? If they make the playoffs, it's almost guaranteed Scott Brooks gets a new contract to align at least with Russ's timeline. So again, like 2 years. I know Wizards fans hate to hear that because they are tired after missing the playoffs for 3 straight seasons. But Brooks is liked around the organization and most importantly by his 2 stars. The exact opposite of our number 4 coach, Nate Bjorkgren of the Pacers. He has serious problems with his players. This was the most random tweet on my phone last Tuesday. After 1 season, the Pacers could move on from this dude. I know the team has been really bad, especially on defense, but this is a stable organization. I mean, they kept Nate McMillan way longer than fans wanted. And now, I promise the Pacers are embarrassed after letting McMillan go, and he is kicking butt in Atlanta. It's like they broke up with a girl, and now she is dating someone a lot more successful. Then the gossip leaked. Apparently, this guy has significant issues with relationships among his players throughout the team and with members throughout the franchise. Translation? People just don't like him. And one day after that report, this happened.
Can't tell with the mask. Is that Coach Foster? That's Greg Foster.
He's talking to one of the players.
One of Bjorkgren's assistants berated Goga Bitadze during a bad loss. You never see that in today's NBA. It looked like a college game. This is a players' league, and even winning coaches have to get along with their players. The only reason Bjorkgren isn't higher on this list is he has shown a willingness to change, and again, the Pacers are usually really stable. Number 3, our first really good coach, Mike Budenholzer. He's one of those coaches that would be unemployed for like 2 seconds if he got let go. Coach Bud is super talented and gets all his teams to peak in the regular season, but fizzle when it matters most, unfortunately. That has looked like back-to-back MVPs for Giannis, but also back-to-back early exits in the playoffs. If they don't at least make the finals, I could see Bud get bounced. If that happens though, this is the ultimate example of who do you replace him with? Giannis needs a head coach upgrade, and it's hard to be better than what they have now. The problem until now has been playoff adjustments. It was an issue when they lost to the champion Raptors and last year to the Heat, but the bubble was different. I mean, Giannis got injured and the social justice movement really hit their roster hard. After that loss, I thought the Bucks might fire him to convince Giannis to stay, but I'm glad they didn't. I think there's a chance Bud is the coach version of Dirk Nowitzki. Everyone knew Dirk was super talented, but no one believed in him until he proved everyone wrong. And if Bud doesn't pull a Dirk, I think he will get fired. Our number 2 coach on the hot seat rankings is Luke Walton. This is the most hated coach by his own fans. They literally heckle Walton during games whenever fans were allowed.
Points, and if he makes one, the game's over. It's been a heck of a game for the Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento made the bubble last year, but they have taken a step back. Now their defense is one of the worst in league history. At one point, Walton was the betting favorite to lose his job, but he is not number one on this list for two reasons. First, his players actually do like him. Outside of a short beef there with Buddy Hield, De'Aaron Fox is on his coach's side. He has had quotes after losses reminding everyone that what happens on the court is the player's fault. And Fox knows his team wasn't meant to win anyway. If the Kings really wanted a playoff spot, why didn't they match the Hawks' offer to keep Bogdan Bogdanović? The second reason Walton might stay was reported by The Athletic recently. They say Walton's contract has a rare clause in it that says the Kings cannot stretch his salary if he's fired, which basically means all $11 million that they owe him would hit the Kings' bank account hard. This team lost over $100 million in the pandemic, and they just built a new arena, which cost a fortune. Maybe the new GM and the owner look the other way on Walton and keep him around at least one more year. But number one on our list is Terry Stotts. And I hate to put him here, but I just can't see him coaching the Blazers next year. I mean, something needs to change in Portland, and Stotts has been their head coach for about a decade. The easiest thing to do to shake things up is letting the coach go after they lose. Stotts is another coach like Budenholzer that is going to get another job quick. Some people say he gives Dame and CJ too much freedom in the offense, but I think GM Neil O'Shea is really to blame here. Yes, he picked Dame and CJ, but since then, there have been very few home runs in the draft or free agency. Lillard hasn't played with an all-star since LaMarcus Aldridge in 2015. That is the front office's fault. I predict the Blazers will lose early in the playoffs, and to keep a frustrated Dame happy, Stotts will be replaced. So now, let's talk about potential coaches that could replace anyone on this list. I am talking Nate McMillan, who somehow still has the interim tag in Atlanta, Jason Kidd, who has learned a lot since being fired in Milwaukee, Dave Yeager, a retread, Chauncey Billups, who's been up for some jobs already, and of course, Stotts or Budenholzer if they are let go. But even if the Blazers fire Stotts, Dame could still leave. What he says in this video should scare Blazer fans.